Florida death metal is a regional scene known as one of the key origins of death metal. Some of the pioneering bands in this subgenre emerged in Florida, especially in the Tampa Bay area. This is why some fans refer to it as the capital of death metal. Following the new wave of British heavy metal, in the early 80s, European bands like Venom, Bathory, Celtic Frost, Hellhammer, or Sodom were already playing styles more extreme than traditional heavy metal, laying the groundwork for aggressive sounds that became the basis for subgenres like thrash metal, death metal, and black metal. American bands like Slayer also incorporated themes of death, dismemberment, terror, and hell into their lyrics. Taking thrash metal as a base, B-movies with monsters, zombies, and gore influenced the creation of death metal, dealing with themes ranging from political and social criticism of death to violence, gore, illness, and even blasphemy, Satanism, and anti-Christianity. One of the earliest examples is Possessed, a San Francisco band that started with a heavier form of thrash metal than their contemporaries. Their 1985 debut, Seven Churches, is often considered the first death metal album, influencing more extreme bands in the U.S. In 1981, Morrisound Recording Studio was founded, initially focused on recording heavy metal albums. Co-founder Tom Morris, observing the rise of bands like Metallica and Slayer in San Francisco, redirected the studio's focus. The first band to sign with Morrisound for this new direction was Nasty Savage, releasing their self-titled debut in 1985, recorded at Morrisound. In 1983, three Nasty Savage fans, Chuck Schuldiner, Rick Rozz, and Cam Lee, decided to form their band called Mantas. Under this name, they released the demo Death by Metal in 1984, showcasing elements of what would become death metal. The band disbanded shortly after and reformed as Death, releasing a series of demos between 1984 and 1986. After signing with Combat Records, the band moved to Los Angeles to record their debut album, Scream Bloody Gore, in 1987. However, only Chuck Schuldiner relocated there, recruiting other musicians for the album, while Rozz and Lee played in the band Massacre. Upon Chuck's return to Florida, Rick Rozz rejoined Death, and with the legendary Scott Burns producing at Morrisound Recording, they recorded their second album, Leprosy, in 1988, a legendary contribution to the scene. Another influential band from the Tampa, Florida scene was Morbid Angel, formed in 1983. They recorded Abominations of Desolation in 1986, but didn't release it due to dissatisfaction. After drummer Pete Sandoval from Terrorizer joined Morbid Angel, they finally released their debut album, Altars of Madness, in 1989, a significant and brutal addition to the scene. In 1984, inspired by bands like Nasty Savage, Death, and Morbid Angel, Obituary emerged, initially named Secutioner. They changed their name upon signing with Roadrunner Records and released their debut album, Slowly We Rot, in 1989, marking another crucial piece in the scene. In 1990, the band Atheist, formed in 1984, made another significant contribution with their 1990 album Piece of Time, offering a more technical approach by blending death metal with jazz. The Florida death metal scene peaked in the early 90s with bands like Cannibal Corpse, Malevolent Creation, Nocturnus, Massacre, Deicide, and Monstrosity releasing pivotal albums, and pioneering bands like Death, Morbid Angel, Obituary, and Atheist continued releasing iconic albums during this period. The scene began declining in the mid-90s, with album sales dropping and much of the audience shifting attention to other genres like grunge or the Norwegian black metal scene. Chuck Schuldiner's death in 2001 and the disbandment of Death added to this decline. Nevertheless, the influence of this scene remains undeniable, with Florida, especially Tampa, colloquially known as the capital of death metal, and legendary musicians like Chuck Schuldiner, considered the fathers of death metal.